Welcome to Old School Garage. Welcome to the TATA project. It's been laid off since last year. It's completely my fault because we're doing all the other projects on this YouTube channel, and obviously we're doing loads of it, well, I'm doing loads of it for the motoring channel as well. So I decided this summer, well, we're already in July, but this summer we need to do something with the TATA, otherwise I'm gonna sell it off. I took the cover off. This is the bonnet. It's been off for some time. It's been covered up because when we put the engine in, well, engine wasn't sit properly, so we need to cut that front cross member off and move the engine forward, because if you see, the body is not sitting perfectly at the minute. So we need to modify that. So the engine, as you can see, it's, well, you probably not see it much in the picture. Can you see it like this way? Yes. So the engine is coming up. We need to get that flat. This M54 engine, 2.5 liter. Then I'm still looking for a windscreen for a TATA Loadbeta. So it would be great if you kindly enough have one for me. If you do, please get in touch on Facebook or Instagram. And yeah, let's clear this bed off first. So last time when we was playing with this car, before the whole thing was stripped, and I started up in a BMW E46 because I bought a damaged car where I got all this engine out from. Was an ex so-called drift car, like an amateur drift car. They used it like 3-4 times. The alternator made quite a bit of noise, and just let me show you. So I still have everything in a way. So there is the alternator, a couple of bolts I need to take off, and they have, this is the tensioner, so I need to, I don't know how much you can see, I need to move this, looks like a 16mm bolts, to undo the tensioner, rip the belt off and rip the alternator off. Right, alternator off, 2 bolts, holding it in, and can you hear it? Noisy. Time to strip it down, change the bearings. So BMW using Valeo alternators, which not necessarily the best choice of alternators. I prefer repairing Bosch ones. They're much easier. They got well, they got the regulator in the back. Normally you can swap it easy enough and do stuff, but even stripping them down is a bit of a pain in the backside, far as I remember, because I used to do them years ago. You can probably hear it better inside. There's a bit of oil in there, which is we need to find out where is that oil coming from the engine, really. And we need to take this plastic cover off first. Plastic cover off. This is your main feed. There is your battery light goes into, you know, your trigger wire. So just take all this plastic off, take these bolts out, try to split the case, but as far as I know, the rectifier on them, you have to remove the rectifier before I can split the casing. That's what I'm saying, I don't like these alternators. So as I said, you're taking the plastic cover off from there, and this is your rectifier. This is all the magic happening. This is the voltage regulator where you got 14.4 volt charge, so it's 12 volt basically. So they are really pain in the backside. These ones, I have to unsolder them, every single one. Take this off and take the voltage regulator off. Then I can undo all the bolts on the alternator and split the casing apart. Right, so I split the casing apart. These are a nightmare, these wires. I don't like them because, well, at the minute, that's all the soldering iron I got in here. I don't have a proper one. But these ones are really pain in the backside because they clamped on, soldered on, and if you don't have a good, like a 200 watt, 300 watt soldering iron, or at least 100, they pain in the backside. You see there is a little wear on the rings, but the problem we have, and that's why it's good to strip it apart. Let me just zoom on that. So these are the brushes, and the brushes is quite low. So it's worth to change them, unsolder them in there and just put new ones in. So I know it's not going to be just an easy and simple change the bearings. And the bearing, let me show you the bearing. So you see the problem with the bearing. Can you hear it? It's quite noisy, but I got the new bearing cap. Bearing cap goes into the casing, in the upper casing. And this is the big main bearing down in there. I need to get that one out. And also there is a problem with the brushes. If you can see, the brushes is so low, especially the one in the back. They need to be replaced, and we can unsolder them and solder in a new ones. So the bearings is wrong, so I need to get the right bearings now. So I need to get the right parts, pick up the brushes as well, then come back to it the next day. Fresh morning to start with. As you can see, the TATA, the body is off. We took it off yesterday. This is Saturday morning now. That was Friday afternoon. We're prepping for today for a few bits and bobs to do. The sump has been ripped off yesterday because the BMW engine does not fit into the TATA because it's held in on a front cross member. I'm gonna show you in a minute. I'm just waiting for the boys to turn up. The problem we have, the BMW M54 engine, we never found a front mounting sump for it. The only other option is to have dry sump, but it's way out my budget. You know, I'm doing budget builds, as you can see. I'm not, you know, if I have the money, yes, I go for a dry sump and probably go for a 3-litre engine and a big turbocharger and all that nonsense. But at the minute, no money for that. So we try to do it on a budget. And as you can see, the big problem is this engine bay looks very big, but it's actually not that big. So the cabin is off at the minute. Took the sump off yesterday, and the idea is Graham gonna cut the sump and re-weld it to make it like a front mounted sump. That's the plan. Hopefully then we can fit the engine, level it out, make the mounting. Then he's gonna do the mounting, cut it out and make it so the engine goes in there. Then we can put the cabin back on, and hopefully at least I can progress with the drive shaft and the rest of them, the bits as well, because it's still a lot to do before that TATA can be driven. But the first thing I really want to do is get that engine right, put the cabin back on, so we can work from that basis. So we need to get on with this lovely little project because it's been ongoing for some time, and it's my fault, so need to get on with it now. So the engine is plumbed in at the minute. The sump is off. The sump is over here. Sorry, I'm not been filming that part because we was playing with an idea yesterday. So you can see the sump is not on. So what we need to do is sort out this engine gearbox mounting in the back, and probably then need some hand. Pull this one out off. Yeah, there. Yeah. So we need to put a cross member in there to support the gearbox in the back, then worry about the engine mounting in the front, isn't it, mate? So that's...
Yeah, get gearbox right first, in the middle somewhere, and then we'll go on the engine mounts.
Because so far, this engine where we pulled it to the front should be on that level where we need to be for the right measurement, so the engine actually fits in a bay, and the tunnel is not going to be held up on the gearbox, which was an issue earlier when we done it like 8 months ago or something. So yeah, we're going to play with this today. So this has been mounted on there with a couple of spot welds for a minute for the gearbox mount, and right now it's all been designed. That's the gearbox holder, and then you just draw it up in a system, and you're gonna copy it down and cut it here. obviously the one in the TATA is not very good, and these are the old ones we try to reuse because it's heavy duty. And the one in there is being cut off. There is a dog leg going there, and hopefully somehow we can fit the engine mounts in there so the engine can sit straight. So as you can see, this is the new engine mount with the old TATA rubber, and then it's just gonna remake the bracing to go in there. So this side, then he's done all the fabrication. As you can see, the engine mount is on. He just measuring up for this side, and this is all the TATA bushes, and he just currently making something on a computer. As you can see, it's been bent, and that's going to be part of the engine mount for this side. So as you can see, the engine is very much forward. If you remember last time we mounted the gearbox there, and if you see size wise, we are about 8 inches ahead. So the engine is going to be very much forward, and there is going to be no room for the radiator. That's going to be a very interesting challenge where we're going to put the radiator, and we might need an oil cooler as well because the sump is cleaned. So the sump is here, and at the moment the idea is need to be chopped somewhere around there. So we're going to keeping the sump plug and the dipstick part. I mean, this being cleaned much as possible, as you can see, but this needs to be modified because there is no room down there. If you can see it, that's the room we got. So Daniel done all the welding. Everything needs to become apart and painted and welded in the back of it as well. But now we got the engine mounted, so well, it's still a long way to go. So the next thing is going to be the sump. So well, we have this sump, and we need to cut it so it's fitting through the cross member. So roughly that's where we need to cut a straight line. Mark it across, coming over the top, cut it down, and so on. I'm not that confident with that one. Definitely no return knife. Oh dear. Hope it fits. Well, after a lot of fiddling and more cuts in the sump, it's fitting now underneath there, so Graham needs to weld it up. That's where are we with the sump project for the TATA. It's a piece being cut down. And as you can see, that's where we are. Need to make another piece in there. Graham is gonna weld it up all the way. Then I can test fit it to the car, and hopefully it's gonna fit. That's the plan. Hopefully he's gonna be happy with it. It's all prepped. So I think roughly we're gonna lose a liter of fluid. This is the bit I cut off. I mean, just to put it into you, how big is that? So that's 400 millimeter. Yeah, so I think roughly, even if so, we're losing a liter, and I'm gonna put an oil cooler on it anyways to gain that 1 liter back for the engine. So that's gonna be welded up and test fit it to the car, and go with the next agenda on the TATA. And there is the sump, all welded up, ready to go back into the car. So guys, we're finishing this video now. The engine is mounted into the TATA. We pushed it into the workshop for the weekend. I just want to show you what happened. As you can see, the engine it's all mounted. It's still temporary, so still the back need to be modified, but I'm waiting for the prop shaft, which is, they currently make it in PropTech in Kidderminster. And in the front, as you can see, is not that much room. I need to put like an oil cooler in the front. And if you see in the previous video on the channel, I got a turbo kit. Well, as you see, I got everything in there. That's gonna be the next video coming up. And I just wanna show you what we done to the sump. The sump is underneath there. Now, the clearance, I don't know where I can film it from. If you can see it, guys, it's just over there. So the sump has been modified and chopped and is fitting to the spot. Also, Graham welded in a connection return for the stand there, where you're looking. It's a return for the oil from the turbo. So, this is where we at the moment. And on the next episode, it's gonna be the turbo kit go on to the TATA. And the turbo kit is for the M50, M52. Well, I put the manifold on and it's not a straightforward thing by the looks of it. But anyways, that's for the next episode. So thank you so much for watching. And if you like this episode, please hit the thumbs up. And if you really like the content, you can subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. And I'll see you the next time. Ta-da!